Hi, this is Sonia from Beta Healthcare. In the previous videos of this series, we focused exclusively on the local code systems themselves. However, you're probably interested in how these local codes can be used in conjunction with other terminologies. This is why I will talk today about using local codes in value sets and mapping set. A value set, and there's an example of one here that I downloaded from the National Library of Medicine's Value Set Authority Center called Below Normal Follow-up. A value set is simply a collection of concepts, as you can see here. It can contain members from a single terminology or, like here, from multiple terminologies. We have, for example, ICD-10, ICD-9, SNOMED, CT, and so on. Local codes can be members of value sets, and for this reason, I already created a value set here and added several SNOMED CT concepts, and now I would like to add some local codes. And there are different ways of doing this. The easiest is to simply grab a local code in the view and just drag it over into your value set. That works if you just want to pick them and then drag them over. You can also add a whole part of the hierarchy, so a code and all the subcodes. If you right click it and then you use add concept and descendant to active value set, but since I already added these, I don't want to do this. A third option would be to use the search. I could look, for example, for managers and search, and the search results are down here in the view, and I click Command A or Control A for Windows to select all of the results, and then you can just simply drag them into the value set. Once you're done, just save it and enter a comment. OK. And now we've added local codes to the value set. If you want to open the editor for one of the members, you can do this just by double-clicking. So this is the editor for the traditional Chinese medicine physician code. And you already know the overview tab, and there's a value domain membership tab, which shows if this local code is part of a value domain. You can see the name of the value domain here. You can see that the membership is active. You can see that it hasn't been published yet. This button here will display inactive members, and you can see that this is also a member of the language value domain and that this membership is inactive. So much about value sets. Now let's move over to mapping sets. This is the value set perspective, and this is the mapping set perspective. And let's click it and close these editors. Mapping sets are organized here in this perspective, and you can see that I have already two mapping sets in here. Let's open the one called occupations. You see it's an empty sheet because in mapping sets you can use any terminology or classification system as a source, which would be in this part of the sheet, or as a target, which would be on the right side. Today I will map local codes as a source and SNOMED CT concepts as a target. However, I could also map local codes to other standards, for example to ATC or LOINC, even within the same mapping set, so there are no restrictions. To start the mapping, let's drag a code, maybe building architect, into the mapping set, Here we go. And you see it's on the left side now, and it's mapped as the source term. Now we need to find a target. Let's look for building architect. Here it is. And I just move it over here, wait until it's highlighted, and then I drop it. Let's try this with another one. For example, restaurant manager. I just move it over, and then I can look for the target. Here's a restaurant manager, and again I just move it over, wait until it's highlighted, and drop it, and so on. You can also move several codes just in like this and then map afterwards. If you want to remove a mapping, you just right-click it and go to Remove Selected Mapping, or you can also just use the Delete button to do this on your keyboard. Once you're done, just save the mapping, and here it is. The mapping is also referenced on the tab. So if I open the local code editor for restaurant manager and I go to the mappings tab, I can see now the mapping that I just did. So I can see the name of the mapping set, the referenced component, which is the local code, and the map target, and that this mapping is active and it's not published yet. If you're curious to see what the map target or the source is, you can just right click it, and then there's the option to open the editor. So I could open the mapping source editor, which would open the editor of the restaurant manager, but since I have this already open, I won't do this. But I can also open the editor of the target, which would be the editor of the SNOMED CT concept, and I can see all the information about this concept here. If you're curious about where it's located within the hierarchy, you can reveal mapping target in the navigator, or in the view as we call it, and open the navigator, and then you can see where restaurant manager is. And it works also for the source, which is here. Okay. One last word about local codes that are referenced in a mapping set or in a value set. We have kind of a security mechanism that prevents you from deleting codes that are referenced somewhere. So if I try to delete restaurant manager, I could not do this until I removed all the references. So you would have to delete the reference first in the mapping set or in the value set before you can actually delete this code. That's all I wanted to show you for today. In the next video, I will demonstrate importing and exporting local code systems. Thank you very much for your attention. Bye-bye.